Ladies and gentlemen, after an insightful panel discussion, let us now move to our next very interesting session. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter still. While schools and educators across the globe focus on preparing students for the workplace of tomorrow, it has been realized that music is not just an extracurricular activity, but can also be a powerful teaching tool. As the National Education Policy NEP 2020 suggests, there can be no hard separation between the sciences and the arts, and music is a great way to bridge this gap. Today, we have with us two eminent guests who, by means of their experience and expertise, will help us understand this topic further. Before I call upon our first guest, let us have a look at the introductory video.
Sri Anil Srinivasan is an accomplished classical pianist, the first to be awarded the coveted Sangeet Natak Academy Youth Award in 2010. Mr. Srinivasan has composed extensively for dance and theatre, internationally, working as far afield as Korea, Australia, and the United States. He has been a TED speaker, chaired conferences on music in venues as diverse as Liverpool Hope University and the University of Mumbai, and has represented India across multiple forums involving arts education. Importantly, he is the founder of the Rhapsody Music Education Initiative. In addition, he serves as a trustee of the Nalanda Way Foundation, reaching children in difficult situations.
So I would now like to invite Mr. Anil Srinivasan, founder, Rhapsody Music Education Initiative, to address the gathering. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you, and thank you for that lovely introduction as well. As with the new normal world, I will start by saying, am I audible? And I'm hoping I am. So welcome to everybody who's attending this. I think it's a very interesting juncture at which we are in this, because art integration is being spoken about as part of the NEP. So I'll start, actually, because Karthik is here, I will start with music. So I'm going to play something. I'm going to do everything basis that. Okay, so I know that given that it's 2:30 in the afternoon, this is obviously a very good time to listen to music. So I'm going to start with this. It follows the whatever I play, I'm going to ask a question. So. So I'm assuming everybody heard that. And so whoever was not planning to listen to me are now listening to me. So I could say, I could tell from the body language of at least a few people, I can see that, without me instructing, certain things are already happening, right? You're already moving to the music, you're smiling, your body is suddenly becoming something very different, right? As opposed to if I started with my PowerPoint slides, because my PowerPoint slides won't be as entertaining as this, right? So let's start with that. The immediacy of attention is one of the greatest gifts of music, right? I can play something and I automatically, all the other millions of thoughts in your head are automatically silenced and you're fully engaged in something. Now let's focus a little bit on fully engaged, and I'll ask this second question. I'll play the first line. I want you to mentally, please don't physically, but mentally, please complete the line. Okay, so this is the first line. Okay, don't sing it, mentally complete it, right? I know most of you mentally completed it already. And for that brief 7 to 8 seconds that you mentally completed, I want to give you some information. 3,25,000 neurotransmitters just got activated in your brain. Okay, now where do I get that information? Importantly, my PhD is in cognitive neuroscience. Okay, so don't question me on that stuff. I know that stuff. Okay, so research has it that when you speak a sentence, it's about 35 neurotransmitters. When you write that sentence and read it to yourself, it's about 325 neurotransmitters. But when you sing that sentence, it is 3,37,000 neurotransmitters. being activated in your brain, which is why it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, jo bhi ho raha hai, you can complete that sentence in your brain without me teaching you. Now, if I went into Kepler's laws of interplanetary motion, you won't be able to complete those sentences as equally well, right? Why do I have to take a physics example? Because as our wonderful MC said, arts and sciences are interconnected. I'm going to come to that. Okay. So I've established for you that mentally you're doing a lot of things. Obviously, I mean, I can play something else and I can change also the way your mood is right now, right? So if I do, okay, I don't want a whole bunch of educators saying Battamis right now, so I will stop with that line. But yeah, right. So, but look at how you're already beginning to feel, right? Now, let's now employ this in education. So the bulk of my work and the reason that all these people gave me great awards, I don't know why they give me awards, but I think that's because I write complex things and people think that that's very intelligent. Now, honestly speaking, you don't need research to tell you certain things that you already know. Music makes you think differently. Music makes you behave differently. Music makes you feel differently, right? So this stuff we already know. If I ask each of you who's attending this session to think back to your most favorite piece of music, which is, by the way, very, very difficult because nobody has just one favorite piece of music, right? It will automatically put your brain into a very different kind of mood than if I tell you to think about that one favorite geography lesson that you all enjoy very much, right? It's very different the way the brain is wired. Now, knowing that the brain is reacting in a higher cognitive capacity, which is 3 lakh plus neurotransmitters, the fact that it is very useful for memory, the fact that it is very useful to put you in a different mental state, why are we not using it in education much, much more? Meaning, I don't need to do music only for you to learn about ragas and talas and how to sing for school day, but how do I use a song to teach you the periodic table? How do I use a musical system of, say, rhythms and beats to teach you something about fractions? How can I use a song about STEM to make STEM into STEAM? Now, this has been my work, right? This is the reason that people like what I do. And I'm now going to share PowerPoints, because if I don't share PowerPoints, then you won't believe that I've done my doctorate. Okay, so this is sort of the very simplified view of looking at music and the brain. Okay, so this is the map of the brain, and it is telling you that different parts of the brain are wired to different parts of music. So there is, for example, I'll just do 2 or 3, I won't do all of it. So for example, when you were all smiling just now and reacting to what I was playing, right? These 2 parts, yes, your brain is working, good news. So these 2 parts of your brain were getting activated, which is the motor cortex and the prefrontal cortex, because this is what controls movement, it controls expression. Okay, when I ask, for example, in very small classes, when you're happy and you know it, clap your hands, you're actually making the brain take a decision on behalf of you through music. It is the amygdala which is actually getting activated. Now, many people talk about left brain and right brain. First of all, let me dismiss that and say there is no left brain and right brain. There's only the front brain and the back brain. Okay. So, and music is one part which actually connects both parts of the brain, which is why it is that 3,27,000 neurotransmitters. Okay, bus, ye ho gaya. Okay, now let me ask a very simple question. So everybody knew Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And I mean, on the basis of fact, I can tell you that Twinkle Twinkle Little Star was composed by a little boy who was 12 years old. His name was Mozart. And the way he composed it was that they blindfolded him, put him into a room. This is 300 years ago. And they asked him to compose something that could be adjudged as part of a competition. So let's think of it as the 300-year-old version of Indian Idol or something like that. That's what he participated in, right? And what did he do? He did not only compose the tune, he composed something like 32 variations on that tune. What is a variation? This is how a variation goes. So you know the main tune, a variation is this. Or another variation is. it goes on and goes on. I can't be playing all 32 because I've told that I must keep the session to less than 20 minutes. So I won't play all 32 variations. But you got to believe me when I say that I do. You know, since Karthik is here, on behalf of Karthik, I will also say musicians always get asked to shorten our sessions, right? So hereafter, I want to be known as a cognitive neuroscientist because then I will get 45 minutes. Okay, all right. So having said this, right, because it's true, I am one. So given that this is what a theme and a variation is, did you know that music has what has given birth to the idea of variations, right? So in class, we talk about isotopes, isobars, isomers, okay? We talk about the different isotopes of carbon. That is nothing but variations. Again, this idea of theme and variations, right? What does music give you? An additive template. So what is an additive template? I can take an existing tune, slap on another tune, it becomes a third tune. Okay, so if I did if I combine both of those tunes, it became a third tune. So music is giving you the thing on additivity. The same opposite, it gives you the thing on reductivity. So I can take away one tune and make it a third tune and so on and so forth. This idea of theme and variability, which you see in chemistry, which you see in science, which you see in mathematics. In mathematics, by the way, we deal with additivity and reductivity in everything from addition and subtraction in first standard to differentiation and integration in the 11th standard. We are actually looking at additivity and reductivity in multiple different forms, right? When we get into deeper levels of differential equations and say differential calculus, see now people are saying, oh, he must be given additional factors. Is that differential calculus itself is work on the idea of addition in aggregate. So those who have done mathematics will understand it, that when you're doing a summation, you're doing an integration symbol, you're adding a large number of variables, right? So all of that, incidentally, has its basis in our patterns and decision making and music. So what did I do with all this stuff? Yes, I created Rhapsody. Rhapsody today works with a very small number of 376,000 children, okay, over the last 9 years. And what we do is that we took concepts like this in music, mapped it to different parts of the brain. Okay, so now I have another slide that shows how the mapping is done. So what we do is we map it to different skill sets, and these are the skill sets that not only UNDP is talking about, but also the NEP is talking about, right? Which is thinking skill sets such as thinking, judgment, decision making, logic, and memory. Memory to aapko already namuna mil gaya because you are all singing the same songs that I was playing, right? Affective or emotive skill sets, which is how to feel, right? The nation wants to know is all we are hearing today in our ears, right? You only have loudness. So how do you teach children also the softer emotions of life? And that happens when you use music in the classroom, right? Because when I'm talking to you at this level, I should talk at this volume. If I was talking at this volume, nobody's going to be listening to me. You'll have a heart attack, right? Other than Omicron, you'll have, oh my God. Okay. The third is procedural or conative skill sets, which is how do you create links between things, right? So incidentally, the same Mozart tune, you can name any tune in the universe and it will be combined and you can play it with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Okay. So can anybody on the panel or whatever give me an example of a tune you like? I'll show you how you can combine. Karthik, just give me some tune that you like.
Okay. Coming on the top of my mind.
Yeah.
Mitva.
Mitva, okay. Supposing we took that. So that was just an example. If we had more time, I would have done 10 more examples, but I've been told to reduce it to less than 20 minutes. So I won't take more than this example. So the idea is here, again, if I give a theme, right? So in a classroom, if I use the word communication, And I tell children after playing an example like this to come up with different variations on communication, children start thinking very differently. So some of the basis of this is what, for example, people like me are beginning to call creative intelligence, right? Creative intelligence actually consists of 4 different forms of intelligence. One is artistic, which is of course coming from music. The second is cognitive, which is how you can think creatively, right? And the combination of thinking and playing is what is called art integration. And then you're getting into something called collaborative intelligence, where we can actually as a group start working on decision making together. And I have a nice picture because people like nice pictures, which show you how actually ideas come to be. And this is how most musicians or artists learn to work. You work in collaboration. And the last part is, of course, design thinking and innovation. And music is nothing but design thinking, no? Because you try out an idea, you're prototyping that idea, you're testing that idea, you're doing a feedback loop, you're using the same things that Stanford University is happily copying. So all of this is actually something that comes out of art integration. Now, there's a lot of rampant confusion about what is art integration versus हमारा स्कूल में art तो है, art class है, music class है, art हम प्रयोग करते हैं सब कुछ में, लेकिन ये art integration वाला चीज क्या होता है? So let's actually differentiate between these 3 things. Art in education is the music class and the art class that we already have, where music में music हो रहा है, geography में geography हो रहा है. Okay, art and education is extracurriculars, right? Where I'm learning Drupad, I'm learning Khayal, I'm learning Carnatic music, but I'm learning all of this outside class, right? Then there is art integration, where, like I'm saying, after this kind of mapping is done. So I said thinking skills, emotive skills, cognitive or procedural skills, self-expression skills, discipline skills. Then we actually map it to the CBSE syllabus or the syllabus that the class is using. So if I have fractions happening in 3rd standard in week 3, same time the art integration lesson will do a musical exercise on fractions. It's as simple as that. So how do I do fractions? Very simple. If I do 1, 2, 3, 4, half, 1/3, 1/4. I mean, it's very easy to do. Children get it like that, right? As adults, we find it very difficult to look at anything differently. That's because a lot of interesting ideas have been beaten out of us, right? Self-expression and joy and creativity. So these skill sets, when mapped to CBSE, then start revealing a set of lesson plans. So what I did beyond that was take music, break it down into skill sets. Skill sets were mapped onto CBSE. That revealed 465 lesson plans from kindergarten all the way up to class 8, where different topics in sciences are mapped to music. Different topics in language literacy, numeracy are mapped to music. And therefore, it becomes an art integrated lesson plan. When there is an art integrated lesson plan going alongside what you do in the syllabus, it is very easy to measure it, very easy to see the impact of it, very easy to devise metrics. Not that I believe in metrics, but metrics are required, unfortunately, in this era where parents control the classroom as much as the teachers do. So you do have the metrics as well. So all of this put together becomes the study in art integration. So how you can use music in the classroom? Yes, because the brain is affected by it. You have to understand the different pillars of creative intelligence, and you have to map it to skill sets in such a way that it can work alongside measurable, metricable outcomes in lesson plans. Now, I'm kind of done. I'm going to play one last tune and I'm going to hand it over to Karthik, Karthik looks better than me and he definitely sings much better than me. So I'm sure he'll have a great number of things to say, but I'm going to play this and I'm going to leave it to you so that you can put down reflections and thoughts on the Q&A box, especially if you want me to answer something after Karthik's session is done. So, which would be, And I will leave you with the thought. So if, of course, those who want to get in touch with me over and above this or want to know more about Rhapsody, I will leave this information, although Shubhayu and the Sahodaya chair can definitely get that information too. Okay, with that, I'm sort of done, and Rhapsody's journey in creative intelligence continues. As I said, we are largely prevalent in the South, but hopefully rapidly expanding. This is the right kind of virus to expand. Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I think a lot of neurotransmitters have already been activated in all of our brains. And I'm sure all of us, are smiling. We've smiled throughout the session. Thank you so much for such an amazing session. I would now like to introduce our second speaker for the session, Mr. Karthik Raman, singer, composer, curriculum designer at Shankar Mahadevan Academy. But before I request him to address the audience, let us please have a look at the introductory video.
Karthik Raman is a singer, composer, independent artist, and music instructor with several years of experience in the field of music and education. Karthik's musical journey started at the age of 5 when he started learning music from his mother and then his guru, late Pandit Shyam Das Mishra. Karthik is currently working with the Shankar Mahadevan Academy as a curriculum designer and music instructor. Along with composing music and playback singing for Sandalwood, Karthik also tours with Padma Shri Shankar Mahadevan, Padma Shri Hariharan, and Mahalakshmi Iyer in India and abroad.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to call upon Mr. Karthik Raman, singer, composer, curriculum designer at Shankar Mahadevan Academy. Welcome, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And I mean, after that wonderful session by Anilji, look at all our beaming smiles, you're all smiling. And I never knew that there are 337,000 neurotransmitters going on in the mind, but I can definitely see those transmitters on our faces with the smiles. I think that's one thing which music does to us. It gives us happiness, gives us joy. And, I think joy is very underrated. We all take it for granted. And I think today what I'm going to talk about, of course, music and how it can be integrated along with things which we do in our schools. In fact, I've also taken some of the things which I did in my school, but I never thought that it could be done this way. And I'm going to try and take a few points, what Anilji said, and try to see how we can try and bring it together. Let me just share my screen quickly. And I'm going to start with a beautiful quote which I read somewhere, and I've totally seen it with my own nephew. He's around 3.5 years. And the quote says, a child sings before it speaks and dances almost before it walks. And, music is actually in our hearts right from the beginning. I mean, you play a song in front of a kid, whether he or she knows the language or not, they are able to hum the tune of the song. In fact, I saw some of the kids humming Das Bahane Karke Le Gaye Dil. I'm like, what? Wait, you're just 4 years old, right? And he's singing Das Bahane Karke, and he doesn't even know what he's singing. But the song has just hooked on to him. The tune has hooked on to him. So I think we need to take the advantage of that trigger, that hook. Let's say if I was in front of all of you on all the close to 2,000 people today, I would have definitely asked you to say hello to me in different languages, or how do we say hello around the world. Let's say, for example, if you are in India, we are such a beautiful country. We have so many languages, cultures. Even if I take, let's say, hello from, let's say we say Vanakkam in Tamil, Namaskara in Kannada, Sat Sri Akal in Punjabi, Namaste in Hindi, hello in English. But what if I wanted to introduce a child to all these different languages, but I didn't want to, go on a blackboard and write, okay, Sat Sri Akal is in Punjabi, Namaskara is in Kannada, Vanakkam is in Tamil. I don't want to bore the kid with, those kind of things. And like Anilji said, if we can stimulate those 3,37,000, the neutrons in the brain, then why not do that rather than those 37 and 45 and 50, right? So what if I could just go up in the class and maybe make a song out of it? For example, let's say, hello, hello, says hello in English, namaste, namaste, says hello in Hindi, vanakkam, vanakkam, says hello in Tamil, namaskara, namaskara, says hello in Kannada, Sat Sri Akal, Sat Sri Akal, says hello in Punjabi. That's the way we all say hello in India. I mean, this is going to stay with the kid forever. I mean, I remember almost all the songs which I learned when I was very small, and I don't even remember how. We all remember these things which we did when we were really small, and then, of course, when things started becoming complex, and then we started going more into that. Okay, this is this. Let's memorize this, and that's when things got a little more, complicated, and that's when I think the mugging kind of thing starts. But I'd like to bring back the point of the hook, the trigger, how music triggers things in our mind. For example, a country like us, which has music right from the time a child is born to the time, when somebody passes away, we have music for almost all occasions. And it's just fascinating, and in so many different languages. In fact, music was a great, a catalyst in our freedom struggle. With Vande Mataram became such a popular tune. When you say Vande Mataram, that feeling of patriotism just pumps into you. So why not use this hook or this trigger to teach different things to kids? Let's say example. Now, when I say teach, I don't mean that you teach all the entire subject through this, but it's that ability to connect. So let's say a kid has learned the song, which I just sang about different languages, and when they grow up and somebody says vanakkam, their immediate a connection would go to, oh, I learned a song in which it said vanakkam, vanakkam, says hello in Tamil. Oh, say, oh, this is Tamil language. Then from that, see, you've got the attention of the child. Now you've got the attention of the child, and now you're going to, okay, now if you want to teach something about the Tamil culture, maybe you can do that. So the point of connection, the point of attention, like how Anilji did with Twinkle Twinkle, he got all our attention. We are all like smiling and beaming with joy and happiness, right? So this attention, this hook is what I'm trying to talk about. Let's come to one of the most horrifying subjects with people. Arey, maths, oh my God, gaya. Abhi maths aaya, matlab, arey, so many formulas, this, that. And we kind of get, a lot of kids get really intimidated when they hear about this. Oh my God, maths. Abhi mein gaya, abhi algebra will come, abhi trigonometry will come, abhi formulas will come. Oh my God, what am I supposed to do? Right? So let's say we all go to a shadi in North. Even if you don't go to shadi in North, definitely people would have danced or that Punjabi dhol, it makes us all groove. And then suddenly the player who's playing that dhol, so if the child or if somebody is able to enjoy this, I'm very sure we can connect it to the fractions. What Anilji also played, about how you can go doubles. You're teaching them about halves and doubles and 4 times, So maths can actually be very, very interestingly connected to music that way. And the other thing which I was wondering, we're talking about music. I mean, we should play some kind of game, no? Where I sing something and, you should identify that or, catch the tune. I'm very sure you would have definitely heard this tune like you had heard the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right? So I'm going to sing this tune. And if you know this tune, you can write it in the comments because see, I can't see you all. If you were there in front of me, I'm very sure you would have just shouted this tune out. So this tune, I'm going to just sing. Okay, now those who have used phone in their entire life, they would definitely know this tune, right? So it's a very, very, very catchy tune, the Airtel tune, the Airtel hook tune. So I was wondering, see, these hook tunes like Das Bahane, Twinkle Twinkle, Mary Had a Little Lamb, all these tunes, they stick to the the mind of a child, right? Now, what if I bring them to a class where this is written on the board? What is the first reaction? They're like, guy, I have to learn all this. Sine 0 is 0, yeah, sine 30. What is all this nonsense? I can't do this. So I thought, okay, why not take an interesting tune or a catchy tune or a popular tune like the Airtel tune? And what if I convert that tune into these formulas and make them in a format like in a minute? If they are able to remember this tune, they are able to remember the formula, right? So let me just share the audio. Okay, I'm going to stop the share screen and share my audio with you all so that you can actually hear what we can do with a popular tune and then integrating it with uh, the formulas or the mathematical equations. That, just let me know if you're able to hear the audio. Okay, give me a thumbs up if it's audible. No? Okay, so welcome to the technology of online. I'm just going to then share the audio directly and I'm going to play the sound for you, and I'm very sure you can hear it this time for sure. Okay, was that audible when I played it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to play that one more time.
A square plus b square plus 2ab is equal to a plus b whole square. A square plus b square minus 2ab is equal to a minus b whole square. Sine 0 is 0 and sine 30 is 1 by 2 and sine 45 is root 2 by 2. Sine 60 is root 3 by 2. Sine 90 is 1. Plus b square plus 2ab is equal to a plus b whole square.
Okay, guess the number of minutes this song was. This was just a 1 minute song. Just a 1 minute song and a popular song, which almost everybody knows. If we are able to capture the power of this tune and then bring the so-called intimidating things of the subject into kids' life when they're inside the classroom, that's going to be just amazing. They don't have to go, oh my God, what is the formula? Now I have to remember this, I have to remember that. They just have to remember the tune which they already know. So we are using the music or the tune as a powerful tool to share something from the other subject, like an integration. Now, mathematics is done, right? Abhi, we talked about Anilji was talking about geography and so many other subjects, and that's really true. That music can be a very, very, very big tool in talking about different subjects. Let's see, for example, I go to a video which I saw. I should say a tourism ad. And I was mind blown. I was like, this is fantastic. I request Shubhayu to play that video. Shubhayu, can you play that Madhya Pradesh video for me?
Sure, Karthik. If you can carry on, I'll just play it in a second.
Okay, so this video, this was a very, very short video made for the Madhya Pradesh tourism, and it was an ad. And when I saw it, I was mind blown. I was like, okay, this is such a popular tune. This song is so cute. It's so beautiful. Why don't we use this tune to teach geography, history, architecture, in fact, some concepts of physics also? And I'll come back to you when Shubhayu is going to play that. So it's just amazing how these things act as a trigger point for kids. And yeah, let's see the video.
में दिल हुआ बच्चे सा, मुगली के छोटे से कच्चे सा, शेर को मारे धप्पा, बड़ा सिंह संग संग दौड़े, और छक्का चप्पा चप्पा छाने जैसे पकौड़े, चंदेरी सारी के कुच्चे सा, MP में दिल हुआ बच्चे सा, सराफा बाजार चखे अच्छे सा, मार्बल पहाड़ चमके जैसे चंदा मामा, मंडू का महल लागे जादू कारनामा, सांझ की शांति से सच्चे सा, MP में दिल हुआ बच्चे सा, छोटे से बच्चे सा.
Okay, now that was the cutest, sweetest, and the one of the most catchiest songs I've ever heard. Now, if you know that song, then you already know about the following things about Madhya Pradesh. Okay, the song talked about Kana Tiger Reserve Park. It talked about the Jahaz Mahal. It talked about the marbles, Jabalpur, Sarafa Bazaar, Sanchi Stupa. Now, if you see, अच्छा, ये तो सिर्फ यही चीजों के बारे में बात किया. No, this is a good connecting point. For what all? You can talk about the geographic location of the place. You can talk about the food of that place. You can talk about the culture, the history. You can talk about the monuments. Okay, when let's say example, you're talking about Sanchi Stupa. Okay, so who built it? Why was it built? All that you can connect. So it's not that you teach like paragraphs into music. No, music is a very good point to connect, to trigger, to learn the following things. Now, if they know this song, again, a 1 minute song, they're able to learn at least those 6 things about a state of Madhya Pradesh. Now, what if we make 1 minute songs for different states? For example, I want to talk about Rajasthan. I already know Ghumar, 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 Ghumere. I know this song. It's a very popular song. So when I sing the song Ghumar, let me talk about the tradition of Ghumar, how it started. I can talk about the puppetry, the folklores. I can talk about the brilliant food. Then through food, I can talk about, okay, what are the different crops that are grown in Rajasthan? Why is that Rajasthani food is so spicy and others are not? So you talk about spices of the country. If you're talking about the Jaipur Hawa Mahal, you can talk about physics. You can talk about the Venturi effect. Why is it called Hawa Mahal? Kyunki uske andar, the breeze used to be really breezy for the women who were staying inside Hawa Mahal. Why was it so breezy? Because of the Venturi effect. What is Venturi effect? Reduction in the fluid pressure. So, and when there is, the pipe is constricted, so the velocity increases. So you can connect all the brilliant things through just that Ghumar. When you think about Ghumar, acha, Rajasthan. Oh, now I know these things. So it's very fascinating to connect lot of other things, not just maths, geography, history, architecture, physics. I mean, food, culture, crops. What are the crops? So many different things you can connect with that trigger, that musical trigger. And above and all, more than the subjects, some things which sometimes we kind of miss out is, life is not just about learning these subjects, right? It's also about learning the morals, the values. In schools, I remember when I was in, I think 7th or 8th, there was a chapter in my Hindi book which was about Kabir ke Dohe. Now, Kabir ke Doha, and I had those 10 dohes, and I can see ma'am, nodding her head, कि हाँ मैंने भी ये पढ़ा है. पर अगर अभी मैं उनसे suddenly पूछ लूंगा ना, okay, what is? Tell me 2 dohas of Kabir. अरे नहीं, I don't know. So I thought, why not bring these ancient values, the learnings of our past, our traditions into the kids' life, but in a 2.0 avatar. This 2.0 avatar is something which they can connect to. The Gen Z can connect to it. And I came up with something called as Amol Vani 2.0. That's one of the things which I do, where I take all these traditional ideas, traditional knowledge, morals, and bring them in a very palatable form to the kids. Shubha, you can play this song. I did a workshop with the kids. It's called the Kabir Connection. And all the dohas, I picked the dohas which, let's listen to the song.
Kabira, 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 oh Kabira, कहते Kabira, 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 oh.
धीरे धीरे रे मना धीरे
कबीरा 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 हो कबीरा कहते कबीरा 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 हो कहते कबीरा कबीरा कबीरा.
So what I did in this was I took 3 dohas of Kabir Das, which talks about patience. Mali siche so ghada ritu I fal hoy. Ritu, when the season come, only then the fruit will come. But if you're going to go inside a class and tell this like a gyan to the kids, they're going to say, "Arey, I don't remember. Yeah, I'll ratta marofy this. I'll go and vomit in the exam sheet and come back." But if this is a song, they are going. This is going to stay with them forever. And I'm not saying this just for the heck of it. One of the parents of this workshop, they called me about a month ago and they said that, my child was he was stuck somewhere, and he's only 6 years old, and he told his mom that no mama, remember that song said that if we need to be patient to get the result. I was very surprised. I was like, wow, he remembers this from the song. So music has a greater impact. So I think with that, I'm going to close the session today. If you have any questions, please, you can write it in the section. I can see some 98 questions, 99 questions. I'm sure it will be for Anilji also.
No. So Karthik, on your behalf, I've been answering some of the questions also. So.
Oh, super. Yes, sir.
All
so,
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Anil Srinivasan and Mr. Karthik, for this amazing session. I think besides the questions, what everybody else in the audience is also saying is, please do not stop this. They want this session to go on and on, but unfortunately, we do not have much time for that. There's one question that I would, request both of you to answer. This is a question that has been asked multiple times in the Q&A section, which is, does this mean every teacher has to be a good singer?
So,
what would you like to say?
Anilji, I think you can go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously not. And I also saw this question multiple times. So I think where teams like Rhapsody and SMA are coming in is to help with that, right? So this is not to say that every teacher has to start singing. That will be very weird if suddenly in the middle of explaining a physics formula, suddenly the teacher starts singing. People will be a little weird, no? So no. This is where videos, audio video aids, the kind of lessons that, so for example, in Rhapsody, what I set up, the trainers physically come to the schools and they do that session, right? They sit with the science teachers, sit with the maths teachers, they work out what needs to be given that particular week and they do it in the Rhapsody class. It is not necessary that the teacher sings it. Allied to this, there was another point. I will just address that as well, which is that this is only rote memory, right? So when you just say a plus b the whole square is a square plus b square is 2ab, that's just rote memory. What about the actual concept and intuition? Now, every lesson has to be broken into 4 sections, which is what we all do in class planning, which is the first 10 minutes of actually explaining the concept, next 10 minutes of understanding the intuition behind the concept, and only then do you come to the song or musical exercise that goes with it. It's not that we do only that song and just let it go. So it's not only memory, it is also looking at the applications of it, right? So as Karthik said it nicely, that just gets the attention. But uske baad concept explanation ke bina kuch nahi kar sakte. So we have to do all, right? So that class planning is necessary. And yes, that is why people like us specialize in creating this, and we run whole companies to make sure that it reaches schools, right? We're not expecting everybody to start singing, although Karthik will agree with me, which says that a nation that sings together will stay together. It's probably not a bad idea in the long run, but in the short run, people like
absolutely, sir. And in fact, if you see, if you're in a crowd of 1,000, all the bass tours will also start singing in sur. That's the power of cumulative singing,
Yeah.
So I think we have addressed this question. And if I had to just sum up this session with a few key takeaways, that would be, I think what, all of us, we leaving this session with one key thought, which is when you sing over 3,27,000 neurotransmitters are activated in your brain. How Mr. Anil Srinivasan also talked about how music has given birth to the idea of variations, and how art integrated lesson plan can be included in a classroom setup. Mr. Karthik, how he spoke about how music is in our hearts right from the beginning, and how tunes can be used as a powerful tool to learn. So thank you so much. With this, I would like to thank both of you for making the time to be here with us today. And I think your expertise and performances and this session has left all of us smiling and enthralled. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.